What's going on?
Good morning. It's a great day today.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Happy Patriots Day. You know, I always look at this day as a day that we remember, but we also, can't live our life like confined. And
No.
so today's a great day, man. And and we have a guest today, so that's even better.
Yeah, man. We got my dad on here, man. This is Abel Senior.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have him on here. My dad, since we were kids, was always game for anything we threw at him, from playing soccer in the same team to sparring to doing martial arts to going on half marathon runs or 5K runs, whatever. He's always involved. So whatever Ozzy or myself ask him, he always tries to figure it out for us. So I asked him
Nice, man.
to come down here because we've been saying that we wanted to invite him down here, and here he is. Yeah.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for making me part of this. I really enjoy. I'm the kind of person who is willing to take any opportunity that I get every day. I like to learn, and this is the first day that I'm doing something like that. But it's a great day.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So,
Yeah.
so, Mr. Gary, you said something really interesting. You said that today's Patriots Day, and it's a day where there's some people that are going to be indoors, maybe quiet, maybe in their, maybe dwelling in their thoughts and stuff. Being the type of school that we are, I believe that we have to dig really deep into that warrior spirit and do important things on this day. Some people might think it's anti-American or whatever, but I actually think the opposite. On this day, on 9/11, we should be doing things that challenge us, things that we can show that we're not going to run and hide, that we're here, we're living life, and we're moving forward.
Well, that's the day. This is the day that you take the opportunity to get outside, to go to the store, to do that, because that's what it's all about. Patriots Day is like, hey, we'll remember the people that were in the two towers and in the plane and the Pentagon. But what we got to remember is nothing can stop what we're doing. Nothing can stop us because and having Abel Senior here is a great day to remember that because his story is pretty awesome, and that story of the American story, that's how I feel. It's not just white or black, it's the American
Mr.
story.
Gary, I'm liking the way you structured this today. It's good, man. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's a nod to everything America is. America is beautiful, and we talked about this before. We're living the American dream, and it's still very much alive.
Yeah, for sure. It's changed and it's morphed, and but it's still the basics.
Yeah, and I think that on this particular day, especially today, we come out and do things that mean something because we want to show that we're not going to be controlled by fear.
Oh, for sure. And that's how it should be. It really should. When I hear people, I have a lot of police officer friends. I have a lot of first responder friends. They don't look at it as, they do their ceremonies and they do, raise their flags and go out and do some training. But then it's party time, man. They live to respect and live to remember. And, they have a drink or two and give a toast and live on, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the way that I see is that we only have future, present, and past. We cannot live on the past. We can only learn from the past.
Yeah.
And we use it as that. We respect and admire all those people that lost their lives. And when you say fear, I was thinking there is different types of fear. And when somebody is a victimized that wants to make victims, they think in different ways. They're hurt. But we are alive. And when I say fear, different type of fear, it's not just about living or losing the life, but I'm also thinking about economically.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that unfortunately at that time, they lose a lot of money and investments because remember, the stock market went down. And a lot of people that has their savings to retire and things like that, people don't talk about that. But some of those people lost quite a bit of money, But you know what? Regardless what we lost, we are still alive, and we have to reinvent ourselves. We have to challenge life every day, and whatever the curve that life is throwing us, we just have to be ready. I mean,
Exactly.
we have to go forward. We have to jump on it, and if we have to reinvent, whatever you have to do it, we do it, and we're still alive. We still have a lot of opportunities to make our dream come true.
Yeah, it's interesting what he's saying, right? He's touching on something. So yeah, life and death, right? Obviously because of the towers and all that, and the people, the heroes that are still alive that were there helping people, and the heroes that we lost, that's in the category of life and death. But yeah, like the financial part, there's people maybe in their 60s, 70s, 80s that were maybe on a fixed income or were relying on that nest egg and that lost it all overnight because of everything
I'll give you
plummeting.
a story. I worked for Pepsi back
Right.
then. That's when I was like just in my beginning of my career.
Right.
And I had a 401k. Everybody in Pepsi eventually gets their 401k, and my mentor then, is a guy named Rick. Amazing guy, showed me how to work on things and do stuff, and he was 6 months from retirement, man. 9/11 happened, and he had to work till almost 70, man, to get that money back, So I felt really bad for that guy because he had lived his life, and he's one of those guys that did everything right.
Responsible.
Yeah, and here I am, this little turd working with him, and I didn't do everything right. I was always cutting corners, and he would always say, no, and then he was like talking about retirement, and then. Yeah, then it hit, and it was like...
It's heartbreaking, but something that I've always taken from my father is that, like he says, reinvent yourself. You have to have the energy, the calmness in order to be able to think correctly. Even in the middle of pressure, even if the sky's falling, you should be able to pause and think before you make decisions, right? And reinvent yourself. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes some guts, man, to do that.
So last thing on this, do you remember where you were at when this happened?
I do. I was getting ready. I was going to Cal State Fullerton back then, and I was getting ready to go to school.
Nice.
And then somebody had the TV on in the morning. I can't remember who. I was home, and we were all just like in the living room, like, what the heck is going on? On the first one, right? When the second one happened, oh man, we were just like, we're being attacked.
Yeah,
like literally, we said we're being attacked.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were at, Dad?
Yes, I was in the house getting ready to go to the office.
Yeah.
When that happens, and I start seeing the news, and I say, oh man, I saw the pictures and everything. And actually, rather than go to the office, I just kept myself watching what really was happening. And and it was bad. And that day also, of course, because my mom passed away that day.
Yeah, so it's a moment you can't forget.
It's a moment, right.
Yeah.
So what he's talking about is that for you guys that don't know, we were talking about this when we came into the studio. My grandma, my father's mom, passed away on 9/11. She was 43.
She was 52.
52.
Wow, that's young.
She was really young. She was 52. She passed away from cancer, and so it's something. Obviously, it's a day that
It's a day that for me it has two remarks, huge big remarks.
Oh yeah, that's like embedded something in your head.
You know this.
So when I mentioned this to Abel Senior when we were walking in, like you said, Shane was just born 2 weeks before, so he was a newborn.
Wow.
Gabby was asleep, Andy was getting ready for school. He was only in the fifth grade, I think, at the time, and I was home on leave to help out, and I was getting ready to walk Andy to school, and Andy was watching the news, and he said, "Are we going to school today?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? We're going to school.
Of course we're going
Get
to
your
school.
butt in here, And I'm like, "Let's go," So I'm walking to him, and then I just hear parents like. So I hurry up. We were really close to the school, so it was like a 2-minute walk. It wasn't much. And I came back, and I turned on the TV, and the first one had already hit.
Oh, so you didn't get to see it till you got back.
Yeah, I first one had already hit. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. Then I got to see the second one, and I thought the same thing. It was like, we're going to war here, they've come to us, It was like, oh my goodness. And yeah, and just watching things happen. And then I'm the type of person, when I get sucked into something, I watch it till the end. So I never turn the TV off.
Wow.
And I watched them crumble.
Yeah, the images.
It was just devastating. Yeah. Picked up Andy from school because I was like,
you don't know what's going on.
What's going on, Tried to wake up Gabby and she told me to go to hell because she was asleep. And she said, leave me alone, I don't care. And,
but I don't think she understood the magnitude of what was going on.
But she was also
right.
still,
Yeah,
recovering and whatever. So when she woke up, she was like,
I actually drove to school, and they didn't even let us on to the parking lot because they're like, since it's a Cal State and it's part of the exactly. They're like, everybody needs to just get away from these properties.
Go home. Yep. School's over. Yeah, I remember. Yep. That's crazy. There's certain days that stick in my head. Working and being in work was like the riots and
the riots. I remember.
And 9/11, man. Yeah. I knew exactly where I was on both of those days. So, anyways, it's Friday.
Yeah,
I thought Miss Abel Senior was gonna cook. I keep hearing about these enchiladas, and I keep hearing about all these famous things. So next time we have Mr. Abel Senior in here,
we're gonna get some food.
We're getting some food, man. I'm gonna make him.
That's funny.
Anytime.
So a lot of you at home, for those of you who don't know, my father was an executive chef for 26, 27 years.
28 years.
28 years,
and was executive chef.
Yeah, and he so that was one of the things he was doing, and he had different things that he was doing on the side and all that eventually really changed his life. But we still very much so cook, all the men at home.
Yeah,
we all cook and we all try to carry on that.
So we're gonna get into a deep dive in that in a minute, but just beforehand, kind of we'll stay on schedule. What's going on with the school? I know we had a meeting last night.
Yeah. Exciting. So last night we actually had a long meeting last night. And it was long because
some people just can't keep their mouths shut.
And we continue coming back today and talking. Yeah. So no, it's we had to get dates, foundation built, and how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna do that. And mainly what the outcome of all this was, we are testing. It's a go. It's a green light for testing.
That sounds good.
Yep, a green light for ranking, a green light for striping, meaning kids, teens, adults, all programs we're back on now. We're going to send out the details on Monday, but just as a little, preview here, we do have everything laid out. We have dates. We have everything laid out so that everybody has a goal, a target, a moving target to aim for, right? Because right now, through the COVID era, we had to figure out how to stay open, and we figured that out, and we know who our team is, and we're moving forward. Moving forward also means keeping everybody, the students, engaged. As leaders in this studio, we figured out a way to keep them challenged, right? And that is, hey, if you do this and this and this, you can pre-test, you can stripe, you can test, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we set down.
Yeah, I think that goals in human nature, in any kind of things that we do, we have to have goals and deadlines. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, it's like going to school and say, hey, you know what? If I don't graduate this year, that's okay. I'm still alive. I have more time than anything else. And it is not true. We never know when exactly we're going to
I agree
disappear from this world. So we never have more time than life.
Yeah.
So we have to have deadlines in anything if we want to be successful. If we don't want to be successful, whatever happens, just go. But, we have to be successful because we were called to actually be successful. I'm talking about myself. I was created at God's image. I'm powerful. I don't care if the rest of the people...
I love that.
That gave me the chills.
I don't care if the rest of the people don't believe in me. I believe in me.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I believe that I was created at God's image, and the only thing that I depend and exit is my Lord. Other than that, nobody stopped me for anything. I can learn from the ant. In this obstacle, it goes around or jumping. But nothing should stop us from doing what we need or wanted to do. We have to have a burning desire. And if we don't have a burning desire, then we're going to mess up. To me, the way that I see myself is like we are the only one, or I'm the only one who is going to navigate my ship. I'm the ship, and I take my boat to the destiny that I want to go, not to where my boat wants to take me, because I'm the ship. I'm responsible. If I let somebody else drive for me, I might end up in a different place. So I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for my results. I'm responsible for my boat. That's the way that I see life. Life is very simple. Sometimes we just have to be humble.
Oh yeah.
If we humble, we are willing to learn every day. Because me, I don't know everything. I'm learning, but I like to learn of everything. Because everything that we learn, we actually, if we are humble, we can apply it in life and in different things.
Are you listening? Because this is important stuff.
Hey, we call this the boiler room.
Yeah.
Today is a boiler room for a whole different reason. Now
Exactly.
Abel Senior spitting some fire, man.
So I mean that resonates big time with me. He knows my story, and because we talk all the time, and as I've gotten older and gone through cancer and done all that, I had an epiphany like, oh crap, I don't have till tomorrow, So that makes so much sense to me, and it hits me hard when I hear somebody say that. It's like, yeah, man, I wasted some time. Now I need to get back on the horse because there's no tomorrow. Nobody offers you anything. You have to kind of go
guarantees.
You have to go and get it. So with that being said, anything else with the school?
Well, that's really the main thing that we got testing back, and that's huge because that also includes certain people that were like brown belts going into black. For kids and for adults, and that's just that alone is massive. You know what I mean?
Testing is always in our school, the foundation of our school. So, yeah, man, it's time.
And we also, we've been doing classes inside legally through the guidelines and all that. So we got to now we're able to do outside and inside, and we're taking advantage of all that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
That's great.
We've had an opportunity to really know what we're doing. We've become professional at this.
Yeah.
COVID.
Professional at surviving, man.
Surviving. Yeah, it's true.
And we smile at it now. You know what I mean? In the beginning, we were just like, oh, man, like under pressure. Now it's like an obstacle gets thrown at us, and we're just like, all right, we'll deal with it.
So, with that being said, let's find out about Mr. Abel. So I'm sure he's heard your stories. Now he can hear like the real. I want to hear the real stuff. I don't want to hear the shiny stuff that you gave your son. I want to hear like the grit of it.
Now that I'm older, he's throwing like other parts into the stories, and I'm like, wait a minute, you never told me that.
See, that's good. I had a different version of my dad. Me and my dad would butt heads, and I saw the real of everything. So this is good. I love hearing about this. It helps me be a better father. So.
Well, where do you want to start? I mean, what do you want to ask?
Dude, first of all, where were you born?
I was born in Los Altos de Jalisco, in a little farm, Ojo de Agua de Moran. Well, right now it's a little town. They have everything. But at those times, it was probably like 150 people, 200 living in there. We don't have no water. We don't have electricity. It was just a farm. Like in Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
I was working in the agave. In the field, everybody were doing that.
So in his area, they concentrate their specialists in agave growth.
Okay.
For those of you that you might have heard that word agave or Weber blue agave, it's what makes tequila. Yeah. So that's what his family specialized in.
Well, right now they make tequila. They make insulin. They make fiber for bread. It's the best fiber, and they also make syrup. We call honey. But it's actually a syrup from the agave.
Oh, really?
And so, I mean, right now they have found a lot of things. They say that it's also good to for people that has diabetes. They can use this or they can use that instead of sugar. So it's pretty good, yeah.
That's good to know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Not knowing that it's not just
Just alcohol.
Yeah. A meathead like me is just thinking, let's get some tequila from Abel Senior.
Yeah, actually, some of the fibers from the imagine a pineapple, just a massive pineapple, like a maybe 200-pound pineapple. When they clean the leaves off, the really thick leaves, a lot of companies like in China and stuff are buying those because they mix the fibers into the cement, and it makes the cement extremely durable.
Really?
Yeah. So for huge buildings and stuff like that, just that. So this one plant is like now.
It's a necessity.
It's starting they're starting to use it for so many things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to know. I mean, that's like the stuff I want to hear. And so.
But that's where I was born. Yeah.
Okay.
But you guys, so you were born there, but you guys had to make an exodus from there.
Yes, I was living there 10 years. After 10 years, my parents, they decided to move. Actually, my mom was the one who has the initiative about moving out of the farm.
Yeah.
And she says, you know what, look, we have no schools here. There's no way we can send our kids to school to have education. All they're going to do is the same thing that we do. We don't have land. We don't have cattle. I don't see any future for our kids. So my mom says, I was thinking, and I made a decision that we should move. She was telling my dad, and my dad was just listening, not too happy, but he was listening. and she says, I make the decision to give you a choice that we move to Zamora, Michoacan, because it's a lot of work over there. We can work in the field, something that we already do.
That's Zamora, Michoacan.
Zamora, Michoacan. Says, we can pick berries because it's a lot of strawberries and a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we can go over there. We're not begging. We're not looking for people to put food on our table. All we looking for is opportunities, and here is no opportunities. So
it sounds to me like you had a smart mom because, that time,
yeah,
nobody's saying, hey, I want to look out for my kids in that way, education.
Well, there was no Wi-Fi. There was no internet.
Right,
it's not like she was like, oh, look at what these people are doing.
Right.
Let's go do that. No, it was like she was thinking about this.
And to me, that's what we all do as fathers. You want better for your kids. So this is interesting to me. This is like, to move, especially in Mexico.
Yeah.
Big deal.
We don't have a passion where she can really or mentor or anything. So then my dad says, no, we are too many. My mom says, we either move to Zamora, Michoacan, or we go to Tijuana. We live in Tijuana until every one of us will go to the United States and we make our dream come true. The United States, the main goal was United States, but she was giving choice to my dad. So my mom says, I give you 3 months. If in 3 months you don't make a decision, then I move with my kids.
Oh, wow. Hey.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's a strong woman.
Goals and times, limits is important.
Yeah.
So she says 3 months. Then my dad says, okay, let me think about it. So my dad went around and around. He really don't want to leave the farm.
Yeah.
He was in the comfort zone. We had a house.
All right.
We go and work. We grow our own corn, things like that. And my mom says, no, there's no future. If it's that education and it's not jobs where they can work every day and get paid, then we need to leave.
It was tough because I remember a story. Maybe you want to tell it. Like when you guys would get milk, the powdered milk.
I remember my mom used to bend her knees and pray for the United States, because we were getting every month from the United States 1 bag of powdered milk, and so my mom used to mix it with water, and we were drinking milk. And so my mom was so grateful that she was praying for the United States. And I remember when Kennedy got killed, she was crying. And I said, did you know him? I didn't understand because I was little too. And she says, no, I don't know him, but I know he was a good guy. And my mom was very grateful. One thing that I learned from my mom is to be grateful.
Yeah.
And so, what happened is that seeing all those things and listening to all those things about United States, then finally it came the day where My mom says, okay, it's 3 days for the 3 months. And the 3 months going to end.
She was counting down, man.
So
I love that.
tell me what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Are you going with us or you're going to let us go by ourselves? And my dad says, well, where do you want to go? I say, I want to go to Tijuana. But if you don't want us to go to Tijuana, second choice is Zamora. He says, we go to Zamora. Zamora is closer. In case something goes wrong or something, we can always come back to the house. My mom says, okay, so the decision is made. We go to Zamora. He says, yes. Then Mama says, now go and sell the house.
So there's no choice of coming back. I like that.
Then
That's
then
hardcore,
my dad,
man.
Then my dad got angry. He says, are you crazy? He says, no, I'm not crazy. What happened if we fail or something? We need to come back. Mama says, we're not coming back. If we fail, we have to have enough prey to live under the bridge until we finally be successful and build a house or buy a house. Or we live under a tree. We're not coming back. We're going to make it, as my mom says.
Wow.
And go and sell the house.
She's ahead of her time on that.
So, guys, as you can see at home, there is no middle ground with us. In our family, it's go big or go home.
So I do see, and I see where that comes from, man. That's generations of instilled like work ethic and believing in yourself. You know.
I'm sorry, man. I've heard these stories 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I still get a knot in my throat. So if I'm quiet for this one, it's because I'm just, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to let you guys do your thing.
I'm enjoying it. This is stuff I need to hear. So if I need to hear it, I'm sure somebody else needs to hear it too. So.
And so, keeping going with the story, so what happened is that my dad went and sold the house. And I remember it was like 7 p.m., kind of like getting already kind of dark. And he came and he says, here is the money, I sold the house. Then my mom says, okay, let's check. Let's make sure that we don't owe any money. And whoever we owe, we want to pay it. And so they check, they say, okay, we owe Jesus Villalobos. He was my uncle. He already passed away. And he says, we owe him some money. Mama says, get the money, we'll pay him, and then come back. Get ready. Get everything that we have. Beans, corn.
Speak up a little bit, Dad.
Whatever we have, get it and take it to your parents. So we got everything that we have left, and we took it to my grandparents. And then the next day, we left. We left home and we went to Michoacan. I live in Michoacan. 16.
How far is Jalisco from Michoacan?
It's 2 hours. Driving 2 hours.
Okay, so that people get an idea of.
Yeah.
But the terrain is very different, correct?
Yes, it's very different. And so I got there. I already have in mind that if somebody wants to make money, it's just a matter of having a strategy and plans. If you have a strategy and have to make money, because I remember when I was in the farm, I didn't have anything because I was working all the time and give everything to my dad. Of course, they get everything. I was 10 years old when I left there. But
what kind of work did you do?
I was working in the field, anything in the field.
At 10 years old?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we started working there since we started moving, man. It's, 10 years old. I mean, we already...
When did you have like your first real job where you had to work?
When I was getting paid, like an adult, I was 6 years old.
Wow.
When I started working. And I was getting paid. They were paying us 5 pesos per day. And as long as I stay with the group, working, I get paid the same. I had no problem. And as long as I do the job right,
so as a 6-year-old, you had to do stay with the group of the adults?
I stay with a group of adults. And I get paid, yeah. I get paid the same. 5 pesos a day. That's what they used to pay us. So between my dad and I, we were making 10 pesos a day.
Oh, wow.
But I remember that at that time, there were also hard times. I mean, I could not comprehend everything, but my mom was sick off and on, and we had to buy the medicine. And it was like, okay, we get this money, we go, 1 week pay, we go and buy the medicine, and sometimes we not even have enough to buy the medicine. So I mean, it was tough for us to have money to spend because mostly we spend it in medicine and things like that. So we were kind of like catching up. Sometimes we had to borrow and then we had to catch up and things like that. So it was hard, but I remember that one day, and that gave me an idea how to make money. Because one day I was walking around a house that was probably like 500 meters from my house, and I saw they had a burro. And it was a tiny burro, but it looks like a lion. It has so much hair, I mean, and I said, what the hell? I never seen a burro like that.
So burro, donkey, guys, for you guys
Yeah,
at home.
donkey, yeah. And so I was looking at this.
A donkey that looks like a lion?
Yeah, when they're little, because they have a lot of hair.
Oh, like a lot of fur?
Yeah, a lot of fur. And so I say, man, I was looking at, and then a guy that was living in the house, he noticed that I was looking at the donkey. And he says, did you like the donkey? And I jumped down on the fence, and I dug. He said, no, it's okay. You can see the donkey. Come and see the burro. And so I say, it's beautiful. I never seen something like that. And he says, I sell it to you. And I say, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but how do I going to pay it? And he says, well, if you have corn, whenever you get your corn and you sell it, you pay. I say, everything I do goes to my house. So I don't get no money. Go and talk to your dad, he says. And I run. And
How old were you then?
at that time I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Jeez.
So what happened is that this is where persistence comes. I like this donkey so much that I had a burning desire to own the donkey. And I was very persistent. At least I think. So I went, told my dad, he says, I hate donkeys. I don't like it. If it would have been a
Sounds
horse.
like your dad was caught in this corner, man. I feel like that. I know how that goes in my house. So.
He says, if it would have been a horse, maybe. But a donkey, I not even want it, not even free. I say, no, it is not for you. It is for me. I like the donkey. I pay for it. How you going to pay? I say, very simple. Let me keep the wages that I make until I pay it. Then after I finish paying it, then you get all my wages again. No, you're not even going to find a job. What about if you don't find a job? I said, I get a job. Go and get a job first, and then you come and talk to me. I said, okay. And I said, I know where to go. I know that my grandpa, he needs people to work, usually. So I went and I ran, and it was already probably like 6:30. It was start getting dark, 7 p.m. And I went and I knocked the door and I saw my grandpa and I said, Grandpa, I need a big favor. And he looked at me very serious, but his eyes was way was wide open and kind of like in tears. What do you need? And I said, I want to buy a donkey. He says, what? I said, yeah, I want to buy a donkey. It's a little donkey, but it's beautiful. But I make a deal with my dad. What kind of deal? What kind of deal? I say, he says, TDP, I get a job, he let me buy it. He let me keep my wages until I pay it. Can you give me a job? He says, sure, I give a job. But you have to do the work the same as an adult. I say, yes. If you don't do it that way, then you're going to get fired. No problem, I say. Then I run. I went and tell my dad. And I say, I got a job. No, impossible. I said, yes, I got a job. With my grandpa, he says, no, it is not true. The mama says, please don't argue. If you don't believe him, just go and ask my dad. You just go and ask. I'm going to go and ask. And my dad was in the bad mood. So he stood up. He went. It was probably like 8 p.m. already. And I walked with my dad. I want to make sure that everything is in order because whatever
He wants to make sure he closes his deal.
Yeah. You got him.
Yeah. So I walked with my dad, and we went and he started talking to my grandpa, and my grandpa Marcos, he says, yes, I gave him a job, so he can pay his burro. And my dad said, no, why do you give him a job? Why not? I always give him a job. And if he's going to use it for something that he wants, let it do it. I mean, life, as much as you live, is still short. Let it do it. He's happy. He's always working. Let it do it. I give him a job. It's okay. He has a job. You can buy your burro. You can buy your donkey. And my dad went home, and I was behind him, and he was not happy. But still, the next day I went, and I spoke to the guy, and I said, okay, I want to buy your donkey. And he says, okay, take the donkey. That donkey cost 200 pesos. For 1 week, I couldn't have full sleep. I was worried about how I'm going to pay this donkey. I say, what about if something happens to me? I hope I don't get sick. I was worried so much. But you think, well, 200 pesos is nothing. But at that time, I was making only 5 pesos per day.
Dang, that's incredible.
So to me, it was the biggest, at that time, to me, was the biggest account I ever owed.
Well, of course.
The biggest debt.
And you're 8 years old and you're already accruing debt. Like, oh, what do I do? You know, and that's huge.
Not only that, but you were working.
Yeah.
And the money you made, you were used to just giving it straight to the household.
Yeah, it went straight to this man who gave you the burro. Yeah.
So what happened is that I bought it in 200 pesos. When we moved to Zamora, we sold it for 350.
Oh, wow.
And then I said, wait a minute. So I was close to double my money. And so it was only in 2 years. So I was 8 years when I bought it, 10 years old when we left the farm to Zamora, Michoacán. So I saw that it was ways to make money. Then also I had a goat, una chivita, a goat. And what happened is that this female had a baby. And when I sold it, I doubled the money.
Did you know that when you bought the female goat, did you know that she was pregnant, or it happened afterward?
No, it was pregnant.
Yeah.
So you had a baby, and so yeah,
2 for 1.
yeah. So eventually, when I sold it, I doubled the money. I paid 150 pesos for that, and we sold that for 200, and the other one for 150. Actually, I even made more than double.
Wow.
And that's what I figured. Hey, wait a minute. There is ways to make money. We just need to be patient. If I'm patient, I can make money. If I have an strategy, I can grow my money. So, to me, those situations that I live, they were actually good situations because I learned from those situations. And it seems like very tiny matters or things that happens in my life, but because my age and where I was living, they were huge. And if I apply those experiences in my life, then life becomes more easier for me. And we moved from there to Zamora. When I was in Zamora, I said, man, I was working and again giving everything to my dad. I didn't have any money to spend. So what happened is that...
Is that something normal in Mexico, that
it is normal.
The children will work, but they give the whole check to the parents?
It's normal. Very normal. Yeah, that's the way it is. So what happened is that, because we have so much needs, we not even get money to spend. But my dad says, whatever you make during the hours of work, those hours that you work, the money comes to the house because we need it. But after that, whatever you do with your time and you make money is your money. Mm-hmm. And I say, great. So I was in Zamora.
So quote unquote side hustle.
Yeah.
So what happened is that I say, okay, good. So what I see, living in the city, I know that it was a bus station where people travels. So what I did is after I finished my shift, I used to go to the bus station. And I was helping people with luggage. And they give me tips.
So a bus would arrive, people traveling.
Yeah.
Are they Mexican people, or is it a tourist area?
No, Mexican people.
Okay, so
normal. Yeah.
They arrive at a bus stop. Somebody needs help with their luggage. You'd go and provide a service.
Exactly.
And it's something you charge, or was it tips?
No,
or
I wasn't charging anything. just helping
Just working
them.
off the tips.
Yeah, and working on tips. And so I started saving the money that I was making. I noticed that at that time, there were days that I make 4 pesos a day. 3 pesos, 3.50. And so I was keeping the money. I was saving it.
You're still a kid. We haven't fast forwarded yet. You're still a kid doing this.
Yeah. So I was saving the money. And when I got 100 pesos, I talked to my dad. The money that I have from the animals that we sold, we end up buying a lot. So eventually we will build a house. So I asked my dad, I say, can I build a little house right here we call Chiquero to have the pigs?
So
like a farm, basically.
Yeah.
So where they had their chicken coop,
Yeah.
my father said, can I build a house where the chicken coop is at?
But it was for pigs.
Oh,
To use it for pigs. And he says, okay, yeah, sure, do it. So I did it. And I bought my first pig, my piggy, mi puerquito. I paid 100 pesos. And I started feeding it. And I had to keep working because it was eating so much. And the tips that I was making, it wasn't
So you had to
enough.
make the little pig house, that area,
Yeah.
so that it wouldn't get out, right? I mean,
Right.
you had to keep it in there.
Keep it in there.
Okay.
And so,
So use those funds towards that, and then you
Yeah.
bought a pig. Okay.
yeah, and then what happened is that when this pig got big, I sold it. Well, my dad sold it, and he says, okay, well, they pay us $775, pesos.
Wow, that was a
That's
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And so then I say, I know it is a way to make money. So I keep doing that until I got 3. And I sold it, and I was counting my money. I mean, when I was 14 years old, I would have more than 3,850 pesos. And with that money, at that time, I could buy a house outside the
Nuts,
city.
huh? Think about a kid had enough money to buy a house based on the 3 little pigs that he was feeding and selling and flipping.
And so what
Aside
happened-
from his full-time job, which all that money went to the household.
Right. Well, I mean, this is why we're having you on, because the story, when I first talked to you when we first moved over here and you started telling me the story, I was like, and I told him right away, I was like, if we do this podcast, we got to have your dad on, because the story is inspirational to somebody like me who needs to hear somebody's work ethic, needs to go, oh wow, people do come out of poverty, and it's not even poverty. You didn't even know it as poverty. You knew it as just life.
Way of life.
Yeah, just life, and it's a shame that you have to say poverty, because it's not really that. It's just, how you were brought up and where you were brought up. And
to me, the way that I see, I'm so grateful about life. I'm so grateful about my parents, my family. So grateful about my Lord, because the way that I learned, it was not by being punished or getting punished, because I enjoy it. It was, to me, it was normal. Life was like that, and it happens to me. I remember I was 14 years old, and my dad gave me another 100 pesos after selling my pig. And he says, here, you buy another one.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on, we'll back up. Didn't you say you sold it for like $750?
Yeah.
So he gave you
No, but he was always keeping the money because he wants to build a house. And so he was building the house, buying materials and things like that.
That's his little workhorse.
But
man.
did you see what happened? He sold it for $750, but he only got 100 pesos of that.
Yeah, well, and to buy another one, not
And
even
then-
to,
yeah.
to
Yeah,
like,
it
here,
wasn't to go spend it.
Go enjoy yourself.
No, go buy another one, do it
Go buy
again.
another one.
So what happened?
I love that.
That's tough, dude.
I wasn't just in such of disadvantage about myself because I don't know how to swim. I don't know how to ride a bike. The only thing that I knew was working. Other than that, I didn't know anything else. And at that time, my dad had a bicycle, and every time I looked and I want to touch it, he always says, "Not even think about it. That's the only thing I have, and you're not going to break it." So how am I going to learn to ride my bike?
Yeah.
So last time when he gave me 100 pesos to go and buy another one, he says, here is the 100 pesos, go and buy another one. Then I got the 100 pesos. I didn't say anything. I went and bought a shirt. So when I got one, and he looked what I have in a little bag, he goes, what do you have there? I said, but a shirt. I got my shirt. Oh, no, you're going to start acting like the rest of the people, they're very dumb. You are the only one that is smart and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't say anything because, we were not used to argue with our parents.
Okay.
So I didn't say anything. I was just looking down. My mom was listening. My mom says, wait a minute. Enough is enough. How are you going to encourage him to keep buying pigs when you keep all the money? You don't buy him clothes. You don't buy him shoes. You don't let him keep any of the money.
Yeah.
You keep everything. Since he is making money since day one, outside or whatever he does, the regular job, you always kept it. Well, we need to buy the lot. We need to build the house. And my mom says, yes. But he also has other needs. He needs to buy clothes. He needs to buy shoes. He needs to learn how to ride a bike. He's going to grow up. And he will learn nothing. He's going to be totally separate from society. Why? Because he's not going to feel that he penetrates with society. So he went and bought a shirt. I think it's great. And my dad says, well, what do you want me to do? He says, from here on, if you don't buy clothes or shoes or anything, with his work, he's entitled to keep part of the money and to give only part of the money to the house. Because he has been helping so much. And so then my dad says, okay, well, then you manage. You talk to him and you do it whatever you want to do it. So my mom says, okay, we want to make a deal. Very simple. My mom says, one day you're going to get married. I want you to understand that you're going to have responsibilities. And your wife will eat, needs a house, needs clothes, and needs medicines. And you are the provider. I want you to start training yourself. So when you make a move, you know what to do. So this is what you're going to do. Whether you work or you don't work, you have to give us so much. So what happened is that the money that I was giving her, it was half of my wages.
So even if you didn't have a job, but you still had to figure it out and do it. So she didn't care how you had to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But
That's
you always
good.
had a job. You had to always have multiple jobs.
Well, she knew. She knew.
Yeah, that's why she.
That's why she probably did that. It was like to put a little fire underneath you. You know?
Well, one thing is that she always used to tell me, if you don't like your boss, you don't like the work that you do, you don't leave the work until you get another job. So if you don't like your job, you have to get another job before you resignate your job. So, I mean, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So when you were helping out with the luggage at the bus stop, it was all cool. It was all right.
No, it was not cool. There have been,
It's not cool.
there have been bad people. I don't know if that's what you mean. It has been bad people all the time. Lazy people that likes to live off other people's wages. And I'm sorry to say that, but at least this is how I see it, and I went through. When I was up with luggages, and I get my money, it was a group at that time of 3 people. I mean, those 3 guys were already older. They were not like my age. They were already older. And they don't do anything, but they want to charge me money for letting me work, helping people with luggage. They want me to give some split from the tips that I was making.
Was it for protection?
I don't know what those guys think, but they say, no, this is our area, and if you want to work, you have to give us so much money. And I say, you know what?
Different kind of business right there.
I don't give you anything.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, go and work. So I went and work. And they were waiting for me to take my money and of course, to kick me out,
So they figured,
to punch me.
since you're not going to give us part of it, we'll take all of it.
Yeah. And we're going to teach this guy that he has to respect us. But I thank my Lord because I was so fast to run. And I was very wise.
Run, Maga.
And looking to the corners and the cars that are in the street, park on the street. I always think somebody's going to hide from there, is going to come. Somebody's going to come from the corner. And Many times they were chasing me. Many times I had to kick them. Many times I kick one and then I run. And I was surviving. Then the next day I go and do the same thing. I go and work.
So it didn't scare you away?
No. You can live with fear. This life, the long as you live, you have to enjoy life and you don't live with fear.
I know, but you were a kid though, right? Like, I mean, you were like
Just
10.
made it faster, dude. It just made it faster.
Because yeah, faster.
I mean,
Wait, but like really, like, okay, like you had a full day's work, right? In the field or wherever you were working. And then from there you'd go to help with the luggage. Like on your way walking, because you didn't even have a bike, walking to your next job, you weren't thinking like, damn, I'm going to have to deal with these guys today?
yes, I was thinking I had to deal with those guys, but it didn't bother me. I feel like, it's life, It didn't bother me. I was just paying attention to the cars that are parked on the street, to the corners.
You had a plan, like you said.
Where they can hide, where they can hide. Because if I have time to move, I run away. If they're too close, the longest they don't come all together, maybe I push one or kick one and then run. And I know that the guys were not fast enough to catch me. So I knew what I was good, and my strategy was to survive. How I'm going to survive? I had to survive. And so, go and do the work, come back home and be saved.
So let's speed up a little bit because that's interesting. But, like, did you go to high school?
No. I grew up until basically 10 years old in my farm. Then when I went to Zamora, Michoacan, there's schools. But I never thought about going to school. I was thinking in making money. So my parents didn't tell me to go to school. They say, whatever you make after the chip is yours. So I was more interested in making money. I was thinking like, if I learn to read and write, where that's going to take me? What this is going to give me? I mean, we never thought about a career or things like that. That was not even in my mind. Probably even in the family at that time, it wasn't there. Even though I like to learn and all that, I want to make money. Now, when I saw, after the biggest, and I had a discussion with my dad, and my mom says, I'm going to take this over. This is what happened. 2 weeks later, I say, Mom, can I buy a bicycle? And she said, sure, you're going to need credit. I can sign for you. She says, I have good credit. I can sign for you. Go and look the bike that you want, and I sign for you. And you have to make payments. That's how you're going to build credit. I say, great. So at that time, I was already 14. I got my bike.
Do you remember what you were doing when you were 14 years old?
Yeah, I wasn't.
He already had built a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm bringing up the education. Not saying everybody needs education, but he had already gone through his education by that time. Just because making money helps you speed up, you're, and it's a way of life, like he said. So education for him was different than me and you,
Yeah, my education came from the street and from things that I was living.
Yeah.
The way that I was living. My education is great. If at that time somebody asked me, what will you change? I say, all this work and going to school. I'd rather go to school. I'd rather have a career. But, I mean, thanks God, luckily, by God's mercy, I mean, I been successful. Because, again, I always think that we don't have to live in the past. The past is only bad. The past is only like a pain in the butt. It bothers. Because the only thing you can do is learn. You cannot change anything. If something is painful, get rid of it. So, I'm learning that when I got my bike, and I thank my Lord for that, I got my bike.
So you did? You ended up getting the credit?
Yes, my mom went and signed. I got a bike. And I had a friend who was a bike rider, but he was in the club and all that. He had a racing bike. And I used to go over him out in the bike, and he used to say, we go like uphill, and he says, I'm going to wait for you over there. I say, okay. But inside, I was like, hell no, man. and I killed myself. And I remember he just went, and I say, man, how can that be possible? But I never gave up. So perseverance is very important. I never give up. 3 months later,
So this was a road bike or mountain bike or
no road bike.
road bike? Okay, so like the fast ones, right? Cyclist.
Well, no, he had a racing bike,
He had a gear bike.
but not me. I had just like regular bike,
Oh, got it.
like dirt bike. You know?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how he got so fast.
Yeah, that's what he's like.
And he just, no, but I mean, he was good also. I mean,
Yeah.
and I just started, I remember I was 14 years when I started learning. 15 years I started chasing this guy. Only 1 year practice going to work and on the bike. But I say, if this guy is so good and he's human, I cannot be so far away from this guy because I'm human too. I mean, and a simple way of thinking, because I mean, I didn't go to school, I don't know, but I just saw that this guy is human.
But that's awesome. Look, that's awesome to me because he could have thought the other way and said, but this guy's known how to ride a bike since he was a kid. I didn't. He has 10 years ahead of me. I mean, he could have focused on something completely different, but instead he focused on, well, he's human, I'm human. I could do the same thing he can.
Well, it's the power of believing in yourself, believe it or not. Because if you don't believe in yourself, and here's a prime example is his father had the work ethic, right? His father was a great role model, but at the same time was skeptical. He had already been through the stuff he was going through. It was like,
Yeah.
let me take care of it. And you were like, no, I can do it. That's belief in yourself and then having a great mother to say.
To step in
And
when
say,
she needed to.
Hey, I recognize this
Yeah.
kid's got something a little more than most, and that's a cool story. I love that, man. That inspires me.
So you let him kick your butt on the bike the whole time or what?
Until 3 months, then this is what happened. I started buying used parts from racing bike. I use the same frame, everything, but my bike started getting better and lighter. We all the group got together and he says, "Okay, guys, I'm going to wait for you guys over there, okay?" And we was going to a different city, a lot of hills, and everybody just look around like, "Oh man, this guy," because he was good. And
Was he a show off? Is that
he was showing up. He was a show, but he was good.
Yeah.
He was showing up, but he was good. And so, everybody just kind of like laid down their heads, And I say, well, okay, I'm still going to do my best. And as we start going uphill, he went fast. But I never give up. I said, I'm going to catch this guy. I'm going to catch this guy. Maybe he's the flat tire. Something's going to happen. I'm going to catch this guy. Well, believe it or not, in the last hill, I catch him and I pass him. Some of the guys still saw that I got in front of him because we went uphill. Those guys were so happy. when we got at the first city and I was the first one to get there, the rest of the guys just came and they were laughing and giving me a high five and they say, "Hey, that's good, man." And they say, "Hey, what happened? You are so considerate, you show up, and hey, this guy only 3 months practicing and he kicked your butt." "Yeah, he kicked my butt, but not you guys," he says. And he was lucky. Going back, we see. And again, when going back, he started going so fast. And I still going behind him. Sooner or later, he started kind of like slow down a little bit. He started getting tired. And I know that I had resistance. I had resistance to the point that I knew that it's just a matter of time. So again, I catch him, and I pass him, and I got in first place. And since then, he became a pretty good friend. And he asked me to practice together, and we were practicing together and all that. But I noticed one thing is that persistence is very important. Believe in yourself is very important. It doesn't matter if the rest of the people doesn't believe in you. What's really important is that you believe in yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's something really. Did you hear that phrase? He said it a couple times. He said, "It's just a matter of time."
Yeah.
Like I can literally quote that. It's just a matter of time. I knew in me that it was just a matter of time.
So let's fast forward ahead a little bit. Let's talk about your journey to get to where, America, the United States.
Well, this is what happened is that I came here when I was 16 years old. What happened is that I saw that the change that my mom made, because my mom were basically forcing my dad to move out of the farm. And to me, it was a great adventure. It was a very good step that we made. So I say, if going from the farm to Zamora, Michoacan, it was good. And I've been very successful because everything that I learn, everything that I'm doing, and economically, we are in a better position. We building the house, not quite finished, but we were living in the house, and the house was getting every day, done something. So I say, if that move was good, from here, my next move is to United States. And I had a very good excuse. Sometimes excuses are good. The excuse that I have is that my heart was broken. Why was broken is because I finally was able to buy a nice bike, but it was a used one.
So you kept on cycling?
Yes.
Like that was a hobby of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this bicycle, a day, I sent it to be painted and everything. They assembled and put everything together because I had good parts in the other bicycle. So I just put it in the frame. I got this nice frame from friends. There were at that time only 2 of those frames in Mexico, and I was owning one. So it was almost like a miracle.
Yeah.
And I say, man, if I'm running in my bike and those guys has problems with me, now that I'm going to get this bike, to me it was just like a dream.
I think it was like a Ferrari.
Yeah, to me it was like a Lamborghini, Ferrari. It was a muscle one. And so I was thinking like when we have those, what they call La Vuelta de la Juventud, and they used to do it in Mexico, they used to, I see
It was a big
riders.
race.
It was a big race. These riders coming from United States, Colombia, France, Germany people, England. And I used to go and see their bikes that they had. And man, I was thinking like, to me, this is like a plane, But I was thinking one day I will race against you guys. And I'm going to beat you guys because I'm going to represent Mexico. And nobody's going to beat me in my own land. I was thinking. So I used to go and see those guys, and I get so motivated, man. I get crazy. And then the next day, I just want to go and get in the mountains, because in Michoacan, there's a lot of mountains.
Yeah.
But I was too young. I was doing pretty good, but I was young. And that day that I got this bike that I made, that day that I got it, I spoke to my boss, Alfonso Garcia. I still remember his name, Alfonso Garcia. And I say, man, I'm gonna get my bike. It's gonna be ready today. He told me I can pick it up today. And he says, it was like 12 noon. And he says, look, at 1 o'clock, we take lunch. Go get your bike, get on it. Don't come back to work. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's cool, man.
I said, really? He says, yes, go and have fun. Take your bike. That day that I got my bike, I went to the mountains. And in one of the mountains, the frame broke.
Oh, man.
The bar literally got this and just went down. And I say, man, it's so hard to have that bicycle. So hard. I worked so much. I saved so much. And the day that I got it, it breaks. So, of course, me being a believer of God, I was asking a lot of questions. Questions that I could not understand. Because I said, well, I see a lot of people that have such a beautiful bikes, great bikes, and they not even have to work because their parents buy it for them. Me, I'm working so hard to get this used and everything, and the day that I jump on it, it breaks. To me, it really didn't make sense. And I was thinking, and I couldn't get an answer. I said, gosh, so what do I do? Then I say, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell it to get money, and I go to the United States, and I'm going to make sure who I sell it. And then when I come back, I buy it again, and I fix it. Or get a new frame with parts that I had that were, at that time, they were Campanolo. Used ones, but they were Campanolo. And I sold it to this guy. I sold it for 1,000 pesos.
But it's not like you wanted to.
No, I don't want it,
It was
but
like-
I had no choice.
I had no choice. At that point, you were heartbroken. You were just like, "This is the last straw. I need to go do something."
Yeah, I need
And
to.
if I make it over there, I come back and at least I buy it back.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I never thought about coming to the United States, leaving the United States, or stay for a long time in the United States. I just need to do something, make some money, and go and buy the bike. and that was a good excuse for me to leave. So I left, knowing also that, my mom, I used to see her bending knees and praying for the United States because she kept saying the United States is great because they give so many jobs to people that used to come to the field, because my dad used to come as a bracero to work in the field.
There was a bracero, just for people that don't know, is a program in the United States that they implemented when there wasn't enough farm workers. So they went ahead and gave visas to people that would come and work the farms for certain periods of time, and then they were able to come back. So they come here, work, taxes and all that were paid, and then they let them go back and then come back again for the next season.
It's still something like that.
Yeah, So the bracero program is still.
So I mean, in my mind it was, because I see my mom praying for the United States, and the United States was great, and she was so grateful about the government and about everything. So, I say, I go to the United States. So I say, Dad, I want to go to the United States. And he says, no, you're too young. And my mom says, let it go. Let it go. Let it be a man. If he don't make it, he's going to come back crying and hugging me, and that's okay.
And pulling from my dress.
Yeah, pulling from my dress and crying. Let it go. Let's see if he wants to take a test. Let's see.
Let's see what he can do. Yeah.
As my dad, of course, he was almost crying. My dad, he don't want me to come, but I said no, I'm going. And my mom keeps saying yes, let it go. And so I came, and I was always thinking when I was because what happened is that never know actually how the United States was. We don't have electricity, we don't have television. And then when we were in Zamora, we don't have enough money to buy television. I don't have an idea, knowing how to know read and write. I didn't read newspapers or anything. So my idea about the United States was totally different. It is not the way it is. It was totally different. I was thinking like, okay, because I hear adults saying that it was a line between Mexico and the United States. When they say a line, I was thinking like a fence with wire, and you just dig down and you go and say, where do I work? I was thinking just so simple like that. So when I came to Tijuana, after paying my bus ticket and going and change the Mexican money that I have for dollars, because I was thinking I'm going to go to the United States. I'm not going to need the money, the Mexican money. Oh man, I find out that what I got left, it was like $48.
Oh, because of the exchange.
Because the exchange. And I said, what? What am I going to do with this money? And I was in Tijuana for 21 days. I couldn't come to the United States.
So at home, if you guys are wondering, it was illegally crossing.
Yes, illegally.
I mean, he's a citizen now of the United States, but at that time when he was 15 and a half, 16, he had a dream of coming to the United States, and he went to the border thinking, like he said, I didn't read or write, I didn't have TV, I didn't have radio. I'm just imagining like I can go to this place, cross, and find a job.
And what I have to say to that is I'm a firm believer that this country was built on Mr. Abel's back, on other immigrants' back. That's the foundation of our country. I don't care anybody else's belief. I've been to the Statue of Liberty. I've read what it said, and it welcomes all, So this is part of the reason why I love talking with Senior, because it should remind everybody that, hey, we all come from someplace.
It's almost,
right?
I mean,
if
you put it in perspective, I mean, it's really almost an impossible story.
It's a great story, man. I love this story more than anything. Like, I want to get to like fast forward to the part where you had a jacket and you're in the parking lot fighting people.
Tell them about some of the stories.
You told me that story. Oh, well, I'm just playing.
Yeah. So you were in Tijuana. You were staying somewhere. You were
I was
you were
in
living
Tijuana.
large.
I was in Tijuana, and I either sleep in jail because I'm wandering in the street. Police comes and they ask me questions. They know that I'm not from Tijuana. They can see. I mean, the way we talk. They know.
You're a
I'm not
cowboy,
from
man.
Tijuana.
You're a country boy.
And they say, no, you know what?
Yeah.
They take me to jail. But the next day, I'm out. The only thing is that I don't have a house. I don't have a shelter. I was sleeping under the broken cars. When I get too tired, I say, this car is broken. It's not going to move. I want to fall asleep. I want to make sure I'm saved. So I get under the car. My blankets were newspapers. Get a bunch of newspapers, and wherever I was chilling the most, I put the newspapers for baking lads. That's where I was sleeping. People thought that I was homeless. I say, if you don't accept you're homeless, you're not homeless. Because spiritually and mentally, I knew it was just a matter of time. And when I was getting down, kind of like depressed, things like that, I used to go to the border and see all those people going in their cars. And I used to go and say, I know, my God, I know, Lord. One day I'd be driving in one car and going inside with no problems. And then I go back. And so Tijuana is very hard. Tijuana, I call the lobby of hell.
The lobby of hell.
Yes,
that's powerful.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that. The lobby of hell.
That's how I call it, because you're there and you get all kinds of, they want you to sell drug. They want you to use drug. They want you to be working in prostitution. You name it. And I make a deal with my Lord. I say, dear Lord, I'm making a deal with you. I say, either I make it to the United States, but I stay clean. I don't want to drink. I don't want to use drugs. I don't want to do things that you don't like. If you want me to die, I die with dignity. But you take me to my house, but dead. But I will not go to my house back unless I go inside to the United States. I will not retreat from Tijuana to Zamora, Michoacan, broken, with no new clothes or money in my pocket, new shoes, new everything. I will not go back. I'd rather die. And so I stick on it until one day I finally made it. Because it was not because we could make it. It was that it was nobody to pay for me.
Yeah, you had the...
They have a coyotes, right?
Yeah.
Smuggling human beings inside. So I don't have anybody to pay for me. So I can walk, I can come all the way, but they bring me back because nobody wants to pay for me. And so what happened is that finally, when I came to the United States, I stayed in one house. It was a person who owes money to my dad. And I was hoping that I can collect the money to give it to the guy, and so I can stay in the United States. And so I told this guy the story. He bought the story. He believes. He said, okay, well, stay in the house.
So the human smuggler was going to take you across the border through like the desert or something? Or,
yeah.
Okay. And you're hoping that he would take you to this person's house that owes your dad, my grandpa's money. And you were going to say, because you owe him money, can you pay them in lieu of the debt that you have with my father? Okay.
Right. And so
But it wasn't guaranteed. Did you talk to him prior?
No,
or
I told him that he owed me the money. He believes me. And they did. Well, they don't owe me the money. They owe the money to my dad. And he believes it. And it was true. I wasn't lying. That was the truth. That was the fact. So I stayed in his house. And he had more people start taking those guys, who knows, whatever they...
You stayed in a smuggler's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was there.
This is nuts.
And when I eat, one thing that my mom teach me is that you pick out your plate. So when I was eating, after I finished, I picked it out of the plate and I went put it on the scene in the kitchen. And I wanted to watch it. And the lady at the house, the women, didn't want me to do it. So I started feeling uncomfortable. And then I say, can I help you with something? No, everything is fine. So what happened is, while this guy goes and take people, I was in the house and I noticed that he has a garden and they have roses. But those roses were just like bushes, ugly with all kinds of plants mixed in.
Well, he was too busy smuggling people.
Yeah. So what I did is I started cleaning those roses. And she came out, the lady of the house came out and she says, "Oh my goodness, you clean that?" I said, "Yes." And she says, "How did you do it?" She said, "I did it with my hands." So she noticed I didn't use any tools or anything, but I did it with my hands. "Oh, thank you." She says, "That." And I said, "Okay." And next day, something was bothering my shoe. I said, "What is bothering my shoe?" So I took my shoe off. I took my socks. Of course, my socks, I wear those socks since I left my house. I don't have no clothes, but same clothes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And something was inside, and I feel it, and it was kind of hard. So I turn it over, the sack, and I find $1. I said, "Man, this is when the police was chasing me, taking me to jail, and I had $1 I had to hide because that's whatever I have, they're going to take it." So I was hiding.
The reason why he points at me is because we actually talked about this.
I got put in jail one time
in Mexico.
And
he had to hide his money.
I had to hide my money in my. It just so happened my sandal had a little thing, and I put my
the money
money
in
in there, and I got lucky.
Well, that was wise because they take it.
Yeah, no, I know.
And if they don't, and if the officers that picked you up in Mexico don't take it,
Yeah.
the people inside
Oh, yeah.
sure will.
Oh, that's the feeling I was getting
Yeah.
when I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got this $1. So it's all I have. A little truck came with music. I don't know why they were selling it, but the two little kids that they have, it was a girl and a guy. They were little, and they kept saying ice cream and pointed.
So
And
there was two little kids at the smuggler's house,
Yeah.
probably their
Yeah,
kids.
their kids. And I saw the pictures. I said, "Oh, they sell ice cream." So I said, "Do you want some?" And they said, "Yes." So I said, "So I have $1." So I went and I asked them to give ice cream to the kids. And I gave them $1. The guy took $1. And the lady came, "Oh my goodness, how are you eating ice cream? Who bought it?" And then I say, "You know what, I'm sorry. They said they want ice cream and I only have $1. So I said, well, I'm going to spend it with them." And so I spent it. "Okay, that's fine. Did he give you any change?" I say, "No." Well, he chased this guy probably like 1 block. They were talking English. I don't know what they say. But the guy and I gave him change to her.
Oh, so
says,
he had
"This is
taken your
change."
money?
He took the $1, but
Yeah,
he
he was
didn't
like,
give me the
this guy
change.
doesn't know.
Oh,
so,
that's messed up, dude.
And so she gave me the change. And I said, "Okay, put it in my pocket." So then the guy came. You know,
The smuggler came back home.
Came home.
From a long day's work.
Yeah. And he says, "Well, those guys, we call in and he's not responding. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with you." And the lady, right there, she jumped on it. She became my angel. And she says, "Look, this guy is different than the other people that you bring. This guy, you have to give him an opportunity." He says, "No. Why should I give him an opportunity? You make me weak. I'm not going to get weak. I'm doing my business to get paid." And she says, this guy will pay you that and more. Find a job for him. Let him stay in the house until he gets fine, and he will pay you everything. He says, no, that's not how it works. I'm taking this guy to Tijuana." Well, then she started getting mad. She says, "No, you're not taking him to Tijuana."
This is, so by the way, for people who don't know at home, this is actually a very dangerous moment in your life, because the smuggler at any decision can said, right now you're a waste of time,
Yeah.
money, resources, and I'm not taking you back to Mexico.
And now you're making me argue with my wife.
And now you're causing issues with my business
Yeah.
and in my household.
Yeah.
I could just leave you in the desert and nobody will ever find you.
Yeah.
Like, and he's a kid.
Yeah.
And so the lady keeps saying, "You know what? Hey, this guy picks the plate when he eats. This guy's cleaning the jar. This guy had only $1. You know how much is $1 for a guy that doesn't have a job and doesn't have nothing to eat? And he has $1 and he's spending it on your kids." And so he started kind of like waving his head and so now I'm taking him to Tijuana.
Meaning that he's just going to drop him back off and let him figure it out in the streets.
And so the lady says, why are you taking him to Tijuana? You're going to get tired driving, going back and forth. Also, you're spending gasoline. Would be better just to let him hit the United States? And instead of trying to hurt him because you are mad, you're angry, you're going to get worse. You are spending gasoline, you're spending money, and you're spending energy. And so he says, no, let's go to Tijuana. So I got in the car. He drove a little bit and he says, actually my wife is right. I'm going to drop you here in the United States and LA. Good luck. I said, okay. He dropped me in LA.
Wow.
No, it was like probably like 10, it was probably like 10 p.m. Don't ask me where he dropped me because I don't know. I only remember that I see tracks of
Train tracks.
Train tracks and a light. And he says, get up and good luck. I walk one way all the way to almost the end of where is the other intersection. I said, where do I go? Then I went back and I said, if I keep going back and forth, sooner or later I'm going to be picked up by the police. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. I have no money. I'm going to jump in the first car tax, those cars,
taxi cab.
A cab that I see it, I'm going to jump on it. So this car came and the light was red. He stops. He has to wait for the green light. I didn't ask him if he wants to take me. I got inside the car.
You just opened the door and went
I
in?
just opened the door and went in. The guy looked at me, of course, I looked like homeless. So he says, no. Get out of my car. Where you going? I said, I need you to do me a favor. Can you please take me to this address? And I give him the little piece of paper that I have. He says, you don't have money to pay. I said, you're right. I have no money to pay. But in there is people that owe me money, they will pay you. Keep saying the same story. He says,
by the way, he doesn't even know what that address is because he doesn't know how to read.
I just give him the little piece of paper.
Oh, man.
And so the driver says, no. He says, I can take you. Not only that, but it's too far away, he says. It's far away from LA. This is in Long Beach, he says. I need to ask permission. I need to let those people know in the office that I'm going to take you. And you had no money to pay. How can I take you? I say, I don't know. They will pay you over there. He says, you just crossed the border, didn't you? I said, yes, I did.
Geez.
And he says, you know what? You seem to be an honest person because you say the truth. And the only one of all the taxi drivers that works where I work, the only one that speaks Spanish is me. And he says, you know what? I believe in God. If you came to my car, it has to be for some reason. So I'm taking you.
Oh, wow.
And he took me.
Wow.
He took me. And the address that he has, it was an address for a house. It was for a restaurant.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
But that's probably a blessing in disguise. I mean,
So let me sum this up. He got lucky he didn't get killed by the smuggler because at that point he was excess baggage. Like at that, I mean, nowadays there's no question he would have been killed.
Yeah.
Nowadays that's just how it is now. Then he goes into a taxi cab. He doesn't even wave it down. He actually forces himself into this taxi cab. This guy's the only one that speaks Spanish. He has no money. The guy knows it. He just figured out that this guy just crossed the border and that this kid has no money, just crossed the border. He's probably trouble. And he decides to take him anyways. From where he was at all the way to Long Beach. I mean, it's just like I said, this story is so impossible that I don't know how it happened, right? It's just impossible.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is about life, and Abel can actually probably attest to this, is the more far-fetched it is, the more believable it is. Like this sounds really far-fetched, but I mean, the man is sitting right in front of me. So, yeah. I mean, you hear stories, and you hear people, and their stories coming here and getting here and surviving,
I just believe that God has His own way. He has purpose, and He will not give us more loss than we can take. And as long as we have faith, and I have faith, and because I have faith, I didn't give this guy a choice. If I wave or asking questions, he won't take me.
He didn't give him a choice. He gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
But what's interesting about it is he had a revelation too.
Yes.
Yes.
He did.
Saying, wait a minute.
Yeah. This is a sign from God.
Yeah,
He says,
yeah.
I mean, God must has a purpose or something.
Sure.
So I'm going to take you. And I say, good. Now, so he took me. We got to this place. It was like 11:30 night already. The restaurant was closed. We went and knocked on the back of the door. This guy came, Samuel. I always remember his name. God bless this guy. He came and he looked at me. He didn't look at me like a homeless. The guy says, "Well, we're coming."
You didn't know Samuel?
No,
though?
never ever. I've never
Never
seen
met
him.
him. Never. No.
And so this guy opens the door. The tax driver says, "Well, I need to collect the money. It's so and so in the restaurant." No, he's off today. He didn't work today. Oh, well, he's supposed to pay me because, I mean, this guy told me that they all his dad money and they was going to pay the taxes, expenses. And he says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I pay for it. You pay me later." I say, "Thanks God, I have credit." This guy never seen me before.
I have credit.
You have credit in the United States.
Yeah.
I have credit.
I mean, I was so grateful, man.
That's awesome.
But I mean,
Oh, man.
okay, so look at that. It's dropped out at a restaurant, to go on to this next
In the
part
middle of the
story.
night.
Middle of the night, a guy you've never met says, "Yay, man, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about
You'll
it.
pay me later.
You'll pay me later." But also think of where he ends up cooking probably and ends up a different chapter. From that point on, a whole different chapter in his life.
He's about to blossom. He doesn't even know it yet.
Yeah. With that, let's take a quick
All right. We'll see you guys in a minute.
We'll be right back. We're back. That was just a quick little break. I am so inspired by Abel Senior's story. I think when you are looking for something and you hear a story such as this, it inspires. So I feel super inspired by it. And yeah, man. And it's crazy because all of that right there that you just said and all the coincidences and all that, I mean, it's led me to meet you. If you think about that, you know what I mean? It's led me to have a relationship with your son. I mean, so your story, there would be no story here. So, I mean, that's how I think, and so that's what kind of gets me like motivated, inspired. And,
Maybe we all needed to hear it, huh?
you know what I mean? It's kind of like, wow. And I'm grateful because I think, so many times as Latinos, we get a bad rap. Yeah. And to hear a story that somebody's actually done everything right and is successful, whatever success is in somebody's eyes, success to me is living your dreams. And it sounds like so far, maybe you didn't live it. Maybe all of a sudden it's a nightmare, right? But
success to me, the way that I describe it for myself, because I know that success is different for everyone.
Right.
Success is a combination of things that you accomplish. And one is relationship with God, because that gives you peace. It's a peace of mind, being having a relationship with someone you can talk. I know there's a lot of people, perhaps, they don't believe in God. They believe in something else. I do believe in God. I have a great relationship with my Lord. I know that He has a purpose in life. And of course, I know that in one of those purposes, He wants me to be successful. And to me, success is relationship with God. The other thing is to have health. If I'm healthy, that's success. And if I have relationship. I have a good relationship with my wife, my kids, my family. That's the other one. And then the other one is work. If I have work, and if I create ways of how to survive without begging or without worry, without dependent social security, I think to me that's success also. Because I know one thing, as I start getting older, I'm going to be more expensive. I'm going to need more people to help me. I'm going to need more, probably medicine, what I don't need now, probably medicine eventually. Somebody to drive, somebody to do things for me. I'd be more expensive. But if I'm ready, and if I knew ahead of time, and I got ready for that, hey, that's success. And of course, the other thing is, for the ones that have their parents, love their parents. I only have my dad. I have family. I love my family. So to me, it's not about get rich. To me, is success is what people need. Because I have met people that are very rich economically, but in the other areas are very poor. And so success is a balance of not need money. Don't be worried about what I'm going to get to make my mortgage payment or my insurance or blah, 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 whatever you need. So if everything is on control and everything is balanced, to me, that's what success means. Whoever lives like that is successful. I think I'm very successful. Thanks, my Lord. I'm very successful. I'm still, some people might say, oh, this guy is old. Why do you keep doing things? Well, life is a challenge. Life is a challenge. And the day that you stop doing things, that's the day you're going to die, I think.
Dad, I think it's really interesting, being the amount of business that you do and different things that you're involved with, that you never mentioned money. You asked him what success is, like for him.
Right.
And the description he gave, never included money.
Because money comes automatically. After you do the right things, you're not supposed to chase the money. You're not supposed to chase $1. Money chases you. Money comes automatically. And this is what we need to learn.
Oh, man. I'm sure he just blew some people's minds right now.
And this is...
Because, listen, and just in life today, even like Instagram, social media, all this stuff, chase the money, chase the paper. And he's telling you the opposite. He's saying, let the money chase you. It all comes.
Quite honestly, I'm a guy who reads a lot of empowerment books, listens to a lot of different things, and people pay big money just to hear what you just said.
And you're here to live and direct, baby.
And I get to hear it for free, and then I get to beat him up later. No, I'm saying he beats me.
So where did we take off on the story? Where did we take our break?
So he's here. He's in L.A. He drives him to Long Beach. He goes. He meets this guy. Pays for his cab. And then life begins, right?
So what happens there?
Well,
Second part of your life right there.
It's still not too easy.
Yeah.
Because remember, I didn't have a job.
You're still a kid. Don't forget that, guys. He's still
16,
I don't have
right?
a job.
15 and a half, 16.
I mean, for people, I was still homeless.
Yeah.
But I never see myself as a homeless. I knew that I was going to trouble. At that time, I must say, I have problems, but I'm going to solve it.
I'm not homeless. I have problems, but I'm going to solve it.
Yeah.
And right now, at this point, the way that I see is that every human being will have to face challenge. Only that people doesn't do it. Everybody else, different challenge, but we have challenge. I don't call problems. I call opportunities. Opportunities to fix what needs to be fixed. Don't use the word problems. Don't say, I have a problem. No, you don't have a problem. You have an opportunity. Because you are so good, so grateful that you have an opportunity. You're going to be so successful, and just face it.
You have an opportunity to show your skills.
Yeah. A great lesson. I mean, that's quite honestly, that's what I'm trying to instill in my youngest, because he's a very positive person. So he never uses anything negative. So I don't want him to lose that. And that's something that is a lesson right there in itself. Just because I don't want him to get that. At some point in my life, negativity rolled into my life, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't do this.
Right.
And I don't want him. I want him to hear this and say, hey, I am blessed, and I have things that other people don't have, and opportunities,
Mr. Gary, in a lot of ways, I think of my dad, even till today, is like he thinks like a child. And that's a very positive thing, because children, I look at my daughter, Jimena, there's no impossibilities for her. She can do everything. She's a lion, she says. You know
or a donkey.
Yeah, or yeah. and yeah. And that's he's carried that on somehow, even through all this hardship and through this crazy grinding life that he's had. He's always believed that. Yeah.
Hey, let's get a little lighthearted here. A little lighthearted. How much is Jimena like Abel?
Oh, like him?
Yeah, Abel's daughter is Jimena,
or not.
Yeah, I mean,
the character is very similar. She has a little stronger character.
Stronger.
But they are similar.
really.
One thing that I noticed from him, because he and Osvaldo, my other son,
Yeah.
they are different. Osvaldo is conservative,
My older brother.
He is very careful.
Right.
He knows everything exactly what he's going to do. He takes no chances. He knows exactly. There is no surprises. He has everything probably written down or in his mind, but it is no surprises. Since he was little, I noticed that he was never afraid of things. He was very open-minded and express what he needs to express. His point of view, even if an adult says this is not the way, he will explain. And he explained it right.
Oh, I've had a run-in with him, so I know. he will explain everything. I get it. I totally get that.
So since when he was little, I see Jimena. I just think that Jimena needs to settle down a little bit. We need to teach her about settling down a little bit. Settle down, yeah. Be more patient.
Hey, man, it's gonna happen.
very aggressive.
She is aggressive.
Yeah.
It cracks me up because I tell him, I was like, I don't know how you do it, man. That's that's a tough one. She's a spitball.
And it's not necessarily, I don't mean aggressive like where she'll hit, like it's just, she's aggressive in life. She just
has
wants
a
to get it.
Big personality, and when she meets you, it's just like you're like, whoa,
And she's not afraid either, She can.
Yeah,
she's not shy
fearless.
at all. She
Yeah.
can say hi to anyone.
Yeah.
She says my name is Jimena and blah blah blah, and I say, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
She's very open, which is good.
Yeah. So I just wanted to change it, lighten up a little bit. But I want to hear, like, okay, so you're here, 16. You have troubles, opportunities, no troubles, opportunities. And tell me how you find a job.
Well, I was looking for a job, and I came to this place in Atlantic Boulevard in Long Beach by the freeway. It was a restaurant, Red Onion, and I was outside in the parking lot.
This is one of the reasons why we go to Red O so much in Newport.
Yeah.
It's a throwback. It's a nod to like
So,
the story.
Mr. Abel, I was telling him in my day, Red Onion, because we're about 10 years apart, it was a little party place. He was like, no. I was like, we needed to ask your dad.
I told him it was a restaurant, and he said it's a party place.
No, it was a restaurant, but I had a huge bar.
I told you. And they had DJs every once in a while, and I told
funny.
you. That's how I knew Red Onion.
And so that I was outside, standing outside, and I hear a guy says, okay, I need 3 guys to get in my car. We're going to go and clean a yard. It's a house that belongs to my boss. And we need to clean it up. So I need 3 guys to get in the car. I jump on it. And so he got on the freeway, and then he looked back, and he says, wait a minute, why do I have 4 guys? I said, I only want 3. I said, wait a minute, you said you need 3, and I'm the first one who jump in it.
So that's one.
Yeah, and then the other 2, whatever. You're going to let one get out of the car. I mean, I drop it, but I mean,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
myself. So he says, yes, but when I say 3, I mean 3 that works already for the company. I said, well, you didn't specify that. You say 3 guys, I got in it because I'm looking for work. I'm looking for a
So
job.
they were employed to that company already,
Yeah.
and you were not employed to that
I
company.
wasn't employed.
You just jumped in the car to work.
Jump in the car.
Hey, that's how you create a job right there.
And so he says, okay, you have the choice. One, I take you and you work, bring you back, but I don't pay you. The other thing is I can stop right now and drop you here on the freeway. I say, no, I go with you man, and I work. So I work. And around 3 p.m., he says, I need to talk to you. I said, okay. He says, look, I told you I'm not going to pay you. Remember? I said, yes. He says, now, if you work the way you work without getting paid, why imagine how can you work if I pay you? And I thought, I said, well, maybe I did something. Well, you know, because when I'm going to do something, whether I get paid or not, I mean, I'm going to do it and I'm not giving half my potential. You know, I just do it. You know, I try to do it right. So he says, look, I have a restaurant, but I'm the boss of all those restaurants. I'm the chef of all those restaurants, Red Onions. I'm the executive chef. I want you to go there, learn. I'm going to tell them to teach you, and you're not going to get paid, but you're going to get free food. And once you're ready, I want you to go and work for me at my restaurant, and I want you to be in charge of my restaurant. Well, to me, I say, sure, good. He didn't know that I don't know how to read and write. He didn't know if I really was capable to run his business. But he saw the potential. And I say, hey, if he see it, we deal with whatever we have to deal later.
We'll cross that bridge when we get
Yeah,
there.
I mean, he sees the potential. I'm not going to say, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say, yeah, okay. So I started going to this place, to the Red Onion, and I started working with Mr. Lupe Hurtado. He was in charge on the morning shift at that time. And he says, one day he says, I need to talk to you. And I said, sure. And he says, I just want to tell you that, you know what, with people like you, I feel shame. With people that comes here that has no moral, that gives everything for free, I mean, you know, you're embarrassing Mexicans. He says, and, you know, you're not going to take my job. You're not even speak proper Spanish. So you should go back to Mexico, and instead of being working free for those guys. Those guys taking advantage of you, and you are so stupid that you're giving everything for free. And people like you make us look bad. So I say, okay, I listen to him. I never interrupt him.
Let's not forget, this is still a kid.
Yeah.
16-year-old kid.
Well, one thing that I'm learning obviously is that you see opportunity in things other people don't, and he didn't see that. He saw it as you were going to take his job. So it's like he's looking at you like you've got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity to tell you. Sorry, my glasses
You're a mess.
out of whack. But he's got opportunity to get rid of this kid because, hey, man, there's too much trouble for me, you know?
What he didn't understood is that previously I mentioned that I have made a deal to my God, to my Lord, that I say when I was in Tijuana, the only way that I'm going to go back to my country is if I have new clothes, I have money in my pocket, and I have new shoes, and I leave. I go to my country. Otherwise, I'd rather be dead before I go. And if I'm going to die, I die. But I will not go broken to my country. So, me, I have made that commitment to my Lord. I ask Him, and I ask Him to keep me clean. Not use drugs, alcohol, or anything. Not do things that He wouldn't like it. So, until that, we were doing good. So the only thing was that I had to deal with the job. Now, this guy, Mr. Lupertado, he didn't know any of that. So I told him, I said, after he finished, I said, look, if my presence bothers you so much, it's very simple. First of all, I told him, are you finished? Do you want me to tell you anything else? I said, I'm just asking you if you're finished because I want to have the opportunity to answer you back. And he says, I'm finished. He said, okay. Now, if you can please hear me, if my presence bothers you so much, I can leave. But I make one commandment to my Lord. And I ask him, and I told him what I just said it. By the time I finished, I mean, he was like a rock. Everybody thought he was a rock. But his eyes started watering it. He was almost to tears. He says, I didn't know that. He says, but look, those guys taking advantage of you. And then I say, well, this is what Mr. Raul told me. He wants me to learn here so I can go and run his business. He's going to give me a job at his restaurant. He says, don't say anything. I'm going to teach you to work in the kitchen. But right now, I want you to start working as a dishwasher. And today is Monday. If by Wednesday, I don't make those guys pay you, you have to have a card and you have to clock in and clock out. If I don't get that for you, I want you to come to my house because you're supposed to be at school. So I take you to my house. You have my wife, I don't know, clean the house or, I don't know, do the yard, whatever. But you're supposed to be at school. You're not supposed to be working on being like that. So if by Wednesday I don't get you a time card where you're going to clock in, clock out and get paid, I take you to my house. And I say, well, thank you very much. I appreciate everything you've done for me. So the next day, he spoke to the manager, I guess. He says, here's your time card. Punch in. Now you're going to get paid. You're going to pay minimum wages, which is $150. To me, $150, I start thinking how much money is in Mexico. I say, man.
Right. I mean, yeah, you see it differently than what anybody else would see it. And probably what he saw, he's like, here, it's not, not much. Yeah. And you're probably like,
yeah,
I just started my empire, man.
I said, man, that's great. And then he says, no, I don't want you to stop from this. If you already been in this, I want you to learn to cook. And I want you to come at 9 a.m. every day, and you're going to start your shift at 5 p.m. until close. Sure, no problem.
That means you were there all day.
I was there all day.
So half day was you learning, the other half was working.
Yeah. So I was there all day.
Awesome.
That's nuts.
What I never told him is that I don't know how to read and write.
Oh, so he doesn't know that yet?
No, of course. He won't put me in the kitchen if I told him that because I had to read the orders.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, that was
Gary, could
that
you
was
imagine putting your 3 tamale order in and he sends you a torta or burrito?
Yeah, that was tough. But hey.
Well, let's touch on that then.
This is impossible.
Yeah. Let's touch on that then. Where when did you learn to read and write?
Oh, okay. What happened is that it was to a point where they want me to start doing the meetings for the workers, and that's what I say. Mr. Noble, he was the general manager of the district, and I say, Mr. Noble, it's fine, and you know that I never say no.
So they were telling you to step up that was a good thing, right?
Yeah. After time, they want me to step up. After 2 years, they want me to step up.
So now you're 18.
And they want me to, I was already in charge.
You're progressing, You're moving
I was
up.
already in charge of the group and the kitchen. I was assistant chef. But when they told me to, at that time, I knew, they not even know that I don't know how to read and write because I memorized so much the pictures that I look at the tickets or the orders the people were writing. Because every time when the business slowed down, that was after lunch and before dinner, and I was taking all the tickets. I said, can I take those tickets so I can review it? Sure. So I take the orders and I start reviewing it, and then I start looking at the menus. So pictures and how it says and how people write. So I knew almost how everyone writes from the waitress and waiters.
So you knew exactly what.
Well, I start memorizing everything, and obviously for them it was impossible that I'm going to memorize, but I want to make good money. I want to live different, and I had no choice.
Yeah.
So I have to do it.
So let me get
and I
something
did it.
straight. So if I would have written like the enchiladas, rice and beans or whatever, you would link the way it looked because you didn't know what letters they
Right.
were. You would link the way it looked
Mhm.
onto the menu and the picture in the menu.
Yes.
And anytime you get a ticket, you would just remember that
Right.
that's what it is.
Exactly. Well, when some people says that they cannot
Give the man
learn
a
the
medal.
menu, they cannot learn the menu. I say those guys are crazy. I mean, well, they're not going to learn the menu.
Wait, and on top of that, you learned each person how they write and whose
Yeah.
order it was and all
So
that.
you knew Carmen from
Yeah.
Tom's
Yeah.
writing, like, hey, that was Tom. He's over here. I know that.
But they didn't know you knew that.
No, they don't know. They don't know. Thanks God. I mean, I had a great fortune, a gift. That's a gift from my Lord that I was very fast.
Okay, so fast forward. Now you're being asked to step up and become something more, and you say, I don't know.
I don't know how to read and write.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Mr. Noble, you said,
Mr.
right?
Mr. Gordon Noble, great person. I mean, my angel in this world. I will say my second father. So he says, "What? What do you mean you don't know how to read and write? How do you work in the kitchen?" Then I told him my story. He says, he called the manager and the chef. He says, "We want him for the company. We want him to go at school. He needs a special chip where he can attend school." And I said, "Great, that's a great opportunity." So they gave me a great schedule, and then I was going to school. And then again, you know, we get all these negative people. They say, "This guy is going to go to school. Look, he got a special schedule and things like that. He is not going to learn. I'm being here for so many years and I haven't learned. And how this guy is going to learn how to read and write and he not even knowing Spanish. How he's going to learn in English and things like that?" I say, "No problem. I learn both at the same time. English and Spanish, I learn both at the same time. There's no problem." And so I took the challenge. I went. And then later on, I started doing the meetings because I was able to make my notes and my highlights and keep the meetings. Mr. Noble, in the meantime, he says, "Abel, I want you to get your green card. The company is going to help you."
No. Wow. Yeah, you need a sponsor, right,
Yeah.
to do it.
He says, "I want you to go to Mexico, get everything." At that time, it was already, I have been here 2 years and a half. So I went, got everything, bought everything. They put everything to the system, and I got my visa, my permanent visa. Then 5 years later, I became American citizen.
Wow. That's a
And-
great story.
I didn't want to lose any opportunities. I don't want to lose anything. So when I got my papers, I only paid $50 when I got my visa. And it was simple, easy. I saved all my papers from school. I got some interviews at that time for magazines. They used to have this, what they call, it was in the local news, and they used to call it the recipe of a day. And so they used to go, and I give the recipe for the special that we was going to have that day, and it was kind of like an interview. So those papers, I started saving those papers. So by the time I went for the interview for my green card, I mean, I had a bunch of recycling papers that I was putting there, you know, at school and the things that I was doing and the work and all the stuff. And so I got my papers like that.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. So for people that don't know, the restaurant business is one of the businesses that farming business, restaurant business, everything you've come up in, I should say Mexican people, Latino people, period. That's our industry. That's the industry that
the service industry
that we flourish in, you know, the service industry. And so it makes me really proud. Now I understand your connection to the Red Onion, but it makes me really proud to hear that they stepped up and saw something in you and gave you an opportunity. That to me that's the American story, you know, because not everybody gets that opportunity. But you believed in yourself, and they saw that. So,
And it's also just to point out, it's also a little bit different nowadays. You can't apply that easily anymore. Now the wait time, the minimum wait time is 10 to 15 years to even get in line or get a call.
and you have to have a sponsor, and you have to have
and so
many things behind you, and education. You have to have so many things.
it's just and there's people out there that would be good for the U.S. in my opinion, but are being overlooked because
I've been lucky enough with my wife, who's worked with many kids, DACA kids and stuff, and kids that had opportunities and gotten their papers. You know, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm an American citizen. I went through school, and I don't know nothing. These kids that go and get their opportunity to learn about our country,
they take the opportunity,
and they know more about our Constitution, our country, than kids that actually go through school and get an education. Because kids who go through school take it for granted. So we don't learn. I'm one of those kids. I didn't learn to appreciate what I had until I've gotten older. You know what I mean? So the story resonates with me because it's part of my culture, it's part of your culture, part of his culture. But it's the American dream, man. It's the thing that this land was built on, and I can't express that enough.
So this one's
especially on today.
So this one's obviously going to be a multi-parter.
Yeah.
We're going to probably call it right now. So we ended off where Abel Senior was called to step up. He finally had to admit, hey, I don't know how to read and write, after memorizing everything he was doing every day.
Yeah.
And we can pick up on that.
So where we're gonna go, just so you know, so you have a time to think. I got to know how you met your wife.
Oh.
I got to know Ozzy and Abel. I got to know, he tells me these stories about him and Ozzy going off and whatever. I got to know how these kids were, because they're pretty amazing people too.
Thank you, Mr.
But I also got to know, now, you still train. I know you differently than everybody else. I know the story now. But I honestly, when I first met Abel Senior, I didn't know you. I met him first. Because he was training when
funny.
you took your little hiatus or whatever you were doing, I always tease him. He was living the life. He was living the life, right? But, that's a whole story. And I want to know, progression, man. How he is now. This guy's fitter than, dude, I'm horrible. But
how old are you, Dad?
I'm 65.
65. Dude, he runs circles around some people.
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. I walked in there when we first moved in here. I was helping, and he walked circles around me when I was trying to pull up the tile. I was like, Senior, I want to help,
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, my dad installed the floors in the bathroom.
Dude outworked me. I was just like, I can't keep up with you, dude. I just can't.
All right, guys, so we're going to call it Mr. Abel. Dad, thank you for making time for
today.
us. Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We love you guys.
Thank you. God
And,
bless you guys.
we'll get them back.
God bless America.
Yeah, God bless America for sure.
Seriously.
We'll get you back, and he has a million stories, no joke, and they're all as interesting as the next.
I gotta get to the story where you take off your jacket and grab the crowbar. I gotta get to that story.
I love you guys. We'll talk to you later.
See you later. Mr. Abel, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.